Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Good morning, depending on where you are. We have a lot to talk about, and hit subscribe right now. We're on our way to 120,000 subs, and this is pound for pound the best live stream on YouTube. I'm going to give you a quick recap of all the insanity. Democrats always seem to try to find some grandiose scandal with Trump, and within a week, 2 weeks, a month, or in the Mueller probe, about a year and a half, no evidence of anything, no impeachment, no indictment, and yet everyone on the planet, even in the known galaxy, is waiting for Jeff Sessions to just do his job, indict Clinton on pay-to-play Clinton Foundation, which is what will very likely happen. Campaign finance violations, which I explain in the Daily Caller, in my Daily Caller article, or Espionage Act violations, which I explain in Butthurt Top Secret and Butthurt Deleted Emails. To my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to continue rocking these live streams. Look, they tried to get him on Russia collusion. There was no Russia collusion. They tried to get him on Michael Cohen payments to Stormy Daniels. That didn't happen. Now they're going after alleged campaign finance violations, which aren't campaign finance violations, because they would have to prove with McDougal and the National Enquirer. But they would have to prove that her story, she really wanted her story out there. Nobody goes to the National Enquirer, which is the epitome of fake news, to go ahead. It's a tabloid. Last I remember of the National Enquirer was like, aliens out of space aliens, having kids with the Loch Ness Monster. It's like nobody takes them seriously. 53% of white women voted for Trump even after the Access Hollywood tape. Trump won 30 states. You would have to then, when you're trying to say, well, it's a campaign finance violation, they're trying to link something that has nothing to do with the campaign to the campaign by saying that, well, had people known about his relationship in 2005 and 2006 with two beautiful women, they would never have voted for him. This was an extremely polarizing election. This was not an election where people were on the fence. This is not an election where people were saying, gosh, I'm voting for Trump because he is a true moral human being who does not engage in, any acts that, might not, a pastor or a priest or a rabbi or an imam might not do. What I'm trying to say is that he doesn't engage in anything where he never cheats on his wife or anything like that. People didn't care. Their Access Hollywood tape already came out. So, and he still won the election. There's nothing worse in the history of politics. You couldn't even make it up. I have never actually heard anyone say that. And I've been in many locker rooms all throughout my life. In high school, played all different types of sports, and I've heard all different types of things said. I've never heard that, but you know what? It was a hot mic. And now the immunity deal, now there's an immunity deal for David Pecker, who's the head of the National Enquirer. And this too will amount to nothing. So they cheated Bernie. They blamed Russia. No evidence. Now they've moved way beyond Russia to the National Enquirer. Think about this for a second. They've gone from the Steele dossier to the National Enquirer. They've gone from BuzzFeed, who is now suing the DNC because the Steele dossier is complete under gossip and hearsay and fake news, to the epitome of fake news in the National Enquirer. And all the while, they're like, oh, my God, this is it. We're going to impeach Trump. They are going to lose in the midterms. I've stated that. It's on my Twitter page. I've stated that. My pinned tweet, I've showed everybody here on May 30th on RT's Crosstalk with Peter Lavelle. I was on television stating that I've been on RT like 8 times. I've been on MSNBC and CNN. They are going to lose the election. They're going to lose the GOP is going to remain in control of the House and the Senate. Democrats have already lost 8 out of 11 special elections. They had a complete and utter meltdown, a conniption fit, an absolute breakdown when they lost in Ohio, when Troy Balderson beat Danny O'Connor. They tried to obliterate and destroy their Green Party. They're going to do the same thing with Bernie Sanders progressives. They're going to jettison single payer because Joe Biden's not going to run on over-doubling taxes or whatever, whoever the nominee is. But Trump did not run a campaign where he was Mike Pence. He did not run a campaign where he was Joe Lieberman. He did not run a campaign where he was Rick Santorum. He did not run a campaign where he was this holier-than-thou religious person and, spoke to God and all these things. And he didn't cheat on his wife and all, he lives a straight-laced life. No, that's not Trump. Trump has casinos. Trump is a brash New York billionaire. Trump won because he was a lot more honest than Hillary Clinton in terms of who he was. I stated that Clinton would lose to Trump in 2015. I stated that she was unelectable. I actually, part of one of my articles was why Trump defeats Clinton. Now, nobody listened. I'm telling you again what's going to take place. I told you before Clinton loses to Trump endlessly. She did. I told you before that Tony Podesta would be under federal criminal investigation because of the Mueller probe. He is. I wrote a Daily Caller article about that, foreshadowing that. I was accurate regarding that. I'm not accurate regarding everything. I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, but I have a pretty good pulse of what's going on. I could tell you that they're going to lose the midterms because before there was a walkaway, there was a Dem exit. Before there was a Dem exit, there was a cheating of Bernie Sanders. And the original sin is the Democratic Party is controlled by Bill and Hillary Clinton. When Hillary lost to Barack Obama in 2008, she realized something. She goes, look, I need to control the DNC. It's the only way. I will never win because America will never elect me because I have too many scandals, too much of a liar. She survived Bosnian sniper fire, all of these things. So she controlled the DNC. There are campaign finance violations that I wrote about that I cite Politico articles where $60 to $80 million were funneled through the DNC for other candidates into her campaign. That's a clear, overt campaign finance violation. This isn't like with Trump. Well, money went to David Pecker and she sat on the story and oh my God, if you connect the dots here and there, everything is the leaps of logic. With Trump, to get Trump, the leaps of logic are astounding. The absolute leaps of logic. Well, David Pecker sat on a story from Karen McDougal, and he was paid money from Michael Cohen, which, by the way, if you look at it, it's a campaign finance violation because, you're not supposed to give too much, that exceeded the limit. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Not one vote would have been altered. Trump had non-stop coverage against him. He was a menace to society, to the world. He was going to usher in chaos, World War III, economic decline. I was on CNN International regarding Trump and economic, catastrophe around the world. I said that's not going to happen. I was saying that Clinton, her chances weren't good, and I stated categorically that she would lose. But the thing is, you are looking at a deranged, frothing at the mouth, angry, frustrated bunch of imbeciles who are constantly chasing their tail in this maniacal attempt to impeach or remove Trump from office because they know the Democrats. I'm talking about the Democrats. Whenever I talk about imbeciles and people who've lost their mind, obviously Democrats, they've lost their minds. So let's just go ahead and read. National Enquirer boss and longtime Trump friend David Pecker gets federal immunity in Michael Cohen case. So David Pecker, let's just say this is at CNBC. AMI chairman David Pecker gave prosecutors information about Donald Trump's knowledge of payments his ex-lawyer Michael Cohen made to women alleging affairs with Trump. Pecker, along with both his company and the Trump Organization, has reportedly been subpoenaed. Had reportedly been subpoenaed by federal investigators in April. Cohen pleaded guilty on Tuesday to 8 criminal charges, including tax fraud and campaign finance violations, and could face years in prison. Michael Cohen had a failed taxi empire. That was completely failed. Uber and Lyft destroyed Michael Cohen. It wasn't Trump. It was Uber and Lyft. All he had to do to keep his taxi medallions from going to, being worth as much as like a Dorito wrapper is just simply use an app and have consumers and have people who ride taxis call the driver like they do with Uber or Lyft. That didn't happen. So his taxi empire crumbled, and then he hid millions and millions of dollars, and so this has nothing. This is not Manafort, where Manafort, they couldn't even really prove most of the counts. This guy was a corrupt guy on his own, had nothing to do with Trump. And I'll read you. The chairman of the company that publishes the National Enquirer was granted immunity for federal prosecutors. Immunity by federal prosecutors as part of an investigation into President Donald Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. The immunity deal was earlier reported by the Wall Street Journal. Details of the agreement were not immediately known, but the Journal reported earlier Thursday that American Media Inc. Chairman David Pecker had given prosecutors details about the ongoing president's knowledge of payments Cohen made to women alleging affairs with Trump. This is a non-issue. This is not national security. This is not Hillary Clinton spending, using an unencrypted server outside the United States government to hide Clinton Foundation information, delete all the emails, put special access program and top secret intelligence, transfer it somehow outside the United States government where it was hacked by the whole planet. This isn't that. That is national security. Then you're talking about Clinton pay-to-play schemes. National security. This is not even a scandal. The women willingly accepted the money, had consensual relationships, and they could have simply written a Medium post or written a Facebook post or written a MySpace post or gone on a radio show they could have done anything they needed to do to tell the world about their, affair. They chose not to. They chose not to. And that's it. That's really what it's all about. They chose not to. And you have, let's just look at the National Enquirer. So let's just look at National Enquirer front pages. So National Enquirer front pages. Okay. I mean, this is what, National Enquirer. Al Gore's real reason for stopping global warming. Bigfoot found. And then, I mean, I don't even know if this is Clinton hires 3-breasted intern. Is this real? It's okay. Media matters. So oh, sorry. The Weekly World News. Sorry. That's the Weekly World News. I'm sorry. The National Enquirer is a lot better. So it's like, who believes the National Enquirer? So National Enquirer headlines. Michelle's secret divorce file. $100 million at stake. This is from President Obama. So Michelle Obama has a secret divorce file? No way. Oh my God. it's you can go ahead and read National Enquirer, all of these ridiculous Obama chef quits and tells all. Johnny Depp boos rehab. Like, okay. How does this affect anyone? And then, how does this affect anyone? Who looks at this and says, oh, the Roseman, Elvis sightings in Vegas McDonald's. That exactly. Thank you, the Roseman. So how does this even affect anyone? Like, who looks at this? Who looks at the National Enquirer? This person's coming out. Chelsea Clinton adopting African baby. Okay. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, public argument. It's like, okay, how would this have affected the whole point, the campaign finance leap of logic? Finally, the confession from John Travolta, the National Enquirer. It's like, again, who cares about this stuff? Even if the National Enquirer gets some stories right, because they do. But who cares about this stuff? Nobody believes the National Enquirer. Nobody says, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and read the National Enquirer to find out what's going on. It's true they do get like the scandals. That's true. But this would not have been a scandal. Like, Trump does not have that persona. He did not run on that persona. He didn't run on the persona of here, funny front page headlines from so the Weekly World News is hilarious. Hillary Clinton adopts alien baby. And this, of course, is like, oh my God, people believe that, so then she lost. You see? If Trump won and they could spin it to where the National Enquirer, broke the story, it would be like, oh my God, he won because of fake news. Oh, I agree. The Mendoza, I agree 100%. Dick Morris is great. I listen to Dick Morris all the time. I like him a lot. This too will backfire, and I've been saying it's going to backfire. It's not going to work. None of it's going to work. Look, Democrats need to worry about policies that influence and that affect the lives. They need to worry less about influencing elections. Wingless Angel, Pecker, Wiener, illegal. See page 2, Wingless Angel. You do have the best messages. Wingless Angel, thank you so much. To the people of my super chat, thank you so much. And it's just, it makes no sense. It doesn't help. Look, instead of influencing the election, instead of worrying about election influencing, they should simply worry about policies that influence the lives or that impact the lives of their voting base. People talk about Trump's base. Well, Democratic base cares about climate change. They care about immigration reform. They care about a whole bunch of things. So, I mean, it's like, well, what do they really care about? Like, what do liberal Democrats care about? Nobody knows. It's very difficult to, their foreign policy is in shambles. The Democrats really don't stand for anything other than opposing Trump on everything. It just, they don't want to overtax people. They would never double anyone's taxes to pay for single payer, but they're getting progressives to think that they would actually care about single payer. It's just unbelievable. So Kamala Harris, the co-sponsor, so Kamala Harris backs Bernie Sanders single payer. Great. So why didn't she talk about the increase in taxes? Why doesn't Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders or anyone in the Democratic Party? Because right now Bernie is essentially a Democrat. You can't say that he's independent if he's going ahead and pumping the Russia myth. Bernie Sanders, one estimate is 1.3. So Sanders' plan was estimated cost 1.38 trillion. That's impossible because the Mercatus study said just to get the savings in 10 years, you'd have to over double taxes. And if it's 1.38 trillion for 320 million Americans, the current federal budget has a little over around 1.1 trillion for Medicare and other health costs. Medicare is only 44 million people, and the other health costs are not 320 million people. Let's just say 70 million people. Let's add 30 million to that. You're still not getting 320 million. So it's like they're playing politics just simply to keep whatever's left of Bernie's movement. And then when they lose in the midterms, they're going to go after Bernie Sanders. I keep saying that. Nobody cares. But, that's a whole other story. They'll find out eventually. When they lose, they'll jettison Bernie and they'll jettison his voters. And everything that I say will take place. They're not... Look, you either own your policies or you don't own them. Talk about the tax increase. Don't just say, oh, well, single payer. How much? Okay, the Mercatus study says over double taxes. And then even then, the Mercatus study says you wouldn't be assured of the health. You wouldn't be assured of the same health coverage or the same quality of health coverage. So, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody's actually getting into, and then they're trying to go ahead and stop Brett Kavanaugh from being nominated to the Supreme Court. That's not going to work too. All of these things are going to ruin the Democratic chances. Then you have, let's just look at the polls real quick. So the midterm polls, this is hilarious. It basically, every scandal, Democrats up 6.6. So you have a Reuters poll where it's Democrats up 4. Look at these polls. Think about it this way. Look at these polls. August 12th. Check it out. No, August 16th. Rasmussen polls a tie. That's devastating for Democrats. They have to be up a little bit. Okay, but a tie, which means Republicans easily win the House and Senate. Okay. Then Democrats up 5. Then Democrats up 11, which is a Fox News poll, which is bizarre. Then Democrats up 6. Then a Reuters poll, Democrats up only 4. Margin of error is like 3 or so, 3.5. So they can't win. The Democratic Party can't win. They just can't win. Their own voting base hates them. Their own voting, like the different factions within the Democratic Party absolutely hate them. And there's nothing exactly. There's nothing that they're running on that galvanizes people. They want to abolish ICE. They didn't want to abolish ICE when Obama was deporting 2.5 million people. It's like and then they're like, well, it's a campaign finance violation because of this, that. That's like, no, it's not. But let's go ahead and let's go ahead. CNN, the trusted news. Democracy dies in darkness. Wall Street Journal, National Enquirer publisher David Pecker granted immunity. David Pecker, the head of the company that publishes the National Enquirer, was granted immunity in the federal investigation. A federal investigation into President Donald Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, in exchange for providing information on hush money deals. It's not hush money. It's not hush money. It's a business transaction. No, they didn't have to actually hush up. They could have simply taken the money and told Karen McDougal could have simply signed a deal with the National Enquirer and then told the New York Times. Why didn't she do so? Why didn't she do so? Because everything was legal. Because she was like, oh, goodness, there's legal implications. I signed a deal. Why didn't Stormy tell the world? Well, she did, then she didn't. Well, she didn't. She told the world actually it never happened. So did Michael Cohen. You're dealing with people who have said one thing and then completely alter their story. Whether or not, wink, wink, or nudge, nudge, you think, well, you know, it still in court, you're dealing with people who are just, with McDougal's story, it's, how was it a business transaction? Because you don't go to the National Enquirer for the world to hear your story. Even if the National Enquirer does break stories, you don't go to the National Enquirer for the entire world to hear your story. You go because you want money. That's why you go. You go because you want money. That's why. So and they're now like, everyone's just, oh my God, we've got Trump now. It's not going to work. It's going to backfire like everything they do. It's going to backfire like everything. And it's also a money-making endeavor. The media benefits greatly from all of this. It doesn't have to be true. That's why when Trump says the enemy of the people, the reporting, yeah, it's true. There was a plea deal with Michael Cohen. The frenzy about it, that's the end. That's what should be viewed as an enemy. The media frenzy, the making something out of nothing, the hiding, the sweeping under the rug of Clinton's grandiose national security crimes against national security in the United States. Clinton's crimes fall under high crimes and misdemeanors. Clinton's crimes are national security directly. Like, her server was hacked and she had top secret intelligence. And we know from we know that her server was hacked. That whatchamacallit, Louis Gohmert stated to Peter Strzok that Charles McAuliffe, one of the IGs who first broke the whole Clinton email scandal, said that all of her emails were forwarded to a third party, to a foreign entity, not Russia. So if all of her emails are forwarded to a third party, not Russia, that means that all of her emails, including the top secret, including the special access program intelligence, that was illegally transferred outside of the United States government. So you're not going to, and Trump says, impeach me and the market crashes. Well, the market might not crash, but the market would obviously tank, not crash, but it would obviously go down. People would lose money in the market. But I mean, even CNN, being indicted isn't Donald Trump's problem. Impeachment might be, but they don't even have the votes right now to get impeachment out of the House. You need a majority of the House of Representatives. You need 2/3 of the Senate. Majority of the House, 2/3 of the Senate. They're not going to get 2/3 of the Senate. You're not going to get 60 votes. They don't even control the Senate. They don't control the House. So like, what are they talking about? They're like actually right now living in their own fantasy world. This is worse. This is worse than, oh, Clinton's going to win. This is worse than even Clinton's going to win Texas. I mean, do you want to go back in time? Can Clinton win Texas? Washington Post. Did Hillary Clinton actually win Texas? Okay, this is the Washington Post. Can Hillary Clinton actually win Texas? Could Clinton win Texas? Some Democrats say maybe. They're so utterly delusional. They don't even. I mean, it's like, the last time a Democrat won Texas in a presidential election was 1976. Yet, like many Democrats in a state that has voted to send Republicans to the White House in 9 consecutive presidential races, spanning many of his friends. And okay, so I'm bumfuzzled by the whole thing. I think she'll get close in margin. So it's like Clinton wasn't close in Texas. These people, they are all over the place. And it's like they don't realize they never stop. They never, ever, ever stop. They never stop. It's constantly. Hillary's going to win. Hillary's going to win. Oh my God, Hillary doesn't win. It's Russia. If it's not Russia, it's Russia collusion. Trump Jr. meeting. Russia. Okay, we don't find any evidence of that. Let's go to Stormy Daniels. Stormy. Oh, not Stormy. Okay, Michael Cohen. Okay, no, that didn't work. Now it's National Enquirer. They don't. They have no. They're just chasing their own tail. They're just in circles, chasing their own tail. And it's like there's no rhyme or reason. There's no method. Like, there's a method to Trump's madness, and I don't even consider it madness. I think it's great. I love his tweets. People are like, I hate his tweets. Why? They're hilarious. Yesterday, he's like, look, if you need a good lawyer, don't ask Michael Cohen. How hilarious is that? How hilarious is that? Only Trump, in the middle of a fake scandal, would be like, oh, if you're ever looking for legal advice, don't contact Michael Cohen. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. It's fantastic. And of course, Hillary still has her security clearance. Then they're going crazy over security clearances. It's, oh my goodness, So now they're worried about Russia. Thank you, Sean, for information. Now they're worried about Russia influencing the election. Claire McCaskill is going to lose. Let's look at, she's already blaming Russia in Missouri. She's the original person who, told the world, oh, Bernie's too extreme. Bernie's too extreme. Now it's like, oh, let's go back. Kamala Harris backs Senator Sanders, Bernie's single-payer bill, but doesn't ever talk about the tax increase. Doesn't ever talk about whether the coverage will be the same. Doesn't ever talk about out-of-pocket Medicare costs. Medicare out-of-pocket is $5,000 to $7,000. Out-of-pocket with Obamacare, with the Affordable Care Act, is $7,000 the limit. You have to pay $7,000 out of pocket. Then you have premiums. So how is the single payer is going to be free? Because Medicare is not free right now. Our tax dollars pay, but people still pay out of pocket. So that's like tiny little thorns in the glorious, morally virtuous. And people are like, oh, but people are dying from lack of healthcare. That's horrible. That's horrible. But do they have the money to pay out of pocket costs that people on Medicare are paying now? Because you want Medicare for all. I admire you for staying positive through all of this. The Yahtzee one, if I have 700 people who I am so proud and so happy and so privileged and so honored and so blessed to have, and I have the Yahtzee one, and I have my moderators, and I have my writing, and I have the books that I'm butter top secret emails, butter deleted emails, debunking the Trump-Russia myth. And I just have my voice that is heard now. I'm very happy. I'm very honored and blessed. It is a blessing. The Yahtzee one, it is a blessing to speak to everyone here. It is a blessing. And I truly believe that, God has blessed me. I hope God exists, but I believe that, he has blessed me in that I'm able to just have my little voice. I'm like a little bug buzzing around. I was buzzing. I'm like, Hillary's going to lose. Eric Lunderstedt, thank you. It's an honor to have you watching, everyone here. Thank you. Love everyone here, all 708 people. Thank you. But Amish Space Force, if McCaskill retains your seat, well, don't do that. I don't want you to do that. But you won't have to eat a bug. Don't worry. You won't have to eat it. You just eat, a wonderful hamburger or, pasta or something delicious. I'm gonna go have an omelet soon. Fantastic egg white omelet. Trying to eat healthy. But anyway, what am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I at? Oh yeah, McCaskill. McCaskill polls. Holly up 2. Josh Hawley. She's already blaming Russia. She's already blaming Russia. She's already blaming Russia. And it's like the same people who were telling you, always telling you that that oh my goodness, she's gonna go ahead, she's gonna win. Oh my goodness, Russia interfered in the election. Oh my goodness, Stormy down. Where's Stormy in all of this? Amish Space Force, the Yahtzee won. Everyone here. She fake RV tour. It's unbelievable. You're now talking about The Walking Dead, like the zombies, and they just get get bitten by a zombie, and then they go ahead, and then they turn into a zombie. These are like zombie, like, oh, Michael Cohen, Stormy, National Enquirer, Russia collusion. Oh, they don't realize that everyone looks at them with disdain, contempt. When they lose in the midterms, I agree with you on that. There is deep state versus Trump. I do agree with you on that. That I 100% agree. But I do think also there are, partisans in terms of policies. I think there are partisans in terms of policy differences, and their version of fighting, their version of political battle is anything goes. Papa D, can I be a henchman? I always wanted to be one. A henchman? Papa D. What does that mean? I know what a henchman means. What do you mean? It's like they don't realize that when they lose, again, because they're going to have an epic meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, to all 670 people here, they're going to have an absolutely epic meltdown. An absolutely epic meltdown in November when they go ahead and moderator, Papa D, I have 5 moderators now. Otherwise, I would go ahead and put you as moderator. I have 5 now. I want to keep it just at 5, just because I might be too many. I might be reaching the limit as too many moderators. But thank you, Papa D. They're going to have the exactly, Eric. Yes, they're going to have the meltdown of all meltdowns, and it's going to be glorious. It's going to be so great. I can't wait. They're not going to win. They're not going to have this big, red wave because they hate Trump. And the same people, like, they're doing it again also. They're like, oh, well, Trump is crazy. People are going to sit home. I'm like, surely, Trump's going to lose, or the Republicans are going to lose the midterms. And you're not going to get this insane voter turnout. They couldn't even win in Ohio. And like, people say, well, it's a Trump district. Doesn't matter. The entire Danny O'Connor was on MSNBC. He was on all these places. Azalipot, single payer. First, you have to take the profit motive out of healthcare. Your premiums will disappear and then reappear as taxes, much reduced. If the insurance companies can make it work, so can the government. Azalipot, thank you so very much. So single payer. First, you have to take the profit motive out of healthcare. Your premiums will disappear and then reappear as taxes, much reduced. Okay, if that's the case, yes. But and thank you so much, Azalipot. Thank you for everything, always watching and supporting this channel. The Marcatus study, and I'll just bring this up here. This is the Marcatus study. The Marcatus study says the following. The cost of a national savings. Marcatus study. This is the Koch brothers study. A doubling of all currently projected federal, individual, and corporate income tax collections would be insufficient. So a doubling of, like, if you make over 150K, that would be 30%. You would have a 60% tax, or sometimes 70%, depending if you make like 300 or 400. So you're talking, this is even a doubling of all current projected federal, corporate, and income tax would be insufficient to finance the added federal cost of the plan. Insufficient. So that's all. I mean, my whole thing. I think that there, of course, are benefits. I mean, yes, the premiums will disappear, but in Medicare, when they say Medicare for all, there's out-of-pocket costs. There's even out-of-pocket costs for the NHS. Obviously, they're very, very low in the UK. But I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm going ahead and I'm open to being wrong. I could be wrong about the doom and gloom regarding single payer because I wanted it very much so back in the day. So I'm open to, I'm open. I gleefully watch, like, Democrats lose. I don't gleefully say that that single payer is not realistic economically. It doesn't give me any joy, It's just I see the issue as an olive branch from the Democratic Party, and then going ha like that at the end when they lose. I also don't see them seriously talking about the tax increase. It would be different if, for like, my mentality on Democrats would be completely different if they owned it. If they owned it, Azalipot. Absolutely. An aspirin should not cost $25. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that I have nothing to say, because you're right. I mean, obviously 100% right. No, I mean, there is no rebuttal to what you are bringing up, which is elevated costs, simply to just mark up drug prices. There's no reason why we should pay more than any other country. And then, so that, as Alipod, 100%. I actually, there's no rebuttal there, because I think that everyone agrees with that. I just worry that the government might not There could be more ways that it could be less efficient. I think it was like a whole bunch of people. It was like $1 billion in fraud, Medicare fraud or something. 2017, they were indicted. But as Alipot, 100%. No, I mean, medication should not. People should not have to go to Mexico or Canada or buy medication from India or because medication is so expensive here. That's like makes no sense. Makes no sense. I agree with you on that. The cost of healthcare is out of control. I just don't know if the United States government would function as efficiently as other governments who have single payer. There is something Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that I do agree with, very much so. Although she didn't phrase it in the way I would phrase it. I would say that our value system needs to change to bring all American soldiers home from war, home from overseas missions. We have 800 bases around the world and 450,000 Americans. And I would say that if anybody wants single payer or, any of those issues, I mean, I don't think breaking up too big to fail banks is one of Bernie's biggest platforms. And that's like been jettisoned, like just nobody, over people's heads, forgot about that. I think that if you want, I agree with you also, Joseph, on that. But I agree if you want single payer, if a political party wants single payer, they also have to combine that with specific statements like bring home American soldiers. Then if you go ahead, if you don't spend the trillions on war and foreign policy, you can say, okay, well, let's spend that money for healthcare. But they're not saying that. Slashing the defense budget will not even give, even slashing the defense budget is not saying bring home hundreds of thousands of American soldiers, because there are future costs associated with all of that. There are VA costs. There are 1 million out of the 2.5 million soldiers who fought in Afghanistan and Iraq were injured. 1 million. That's according to Forbes years back, so it's probably more than 1 million injured in some manner. I have a friend who used to work at one of the local bookstores, and he was talking about how he couldn't. He had hearing problems because of the giant cannons that he would go ahead and the howitzers. And the Army was like, oh, well, we're not going to help you. You chose to go ahead and, so it was like, just there's so many unforeseen costs to an aggressive foreign policy, which is what we have. If you completely scale it back, bring home soldiers from war, and actually state that, you then build your base of support to conservatives who are like, you know what, I'm cool with that. I might not be cool with single payer, but I'm cool with bringing home soldiers from war. But they don't speak like that because Max Boot and Bill Kristol and Kamala Harris would never allow it. Kamala Harris will pretend, and Joe Biden will pretend to say, oh, well, we're not really, that close to Max Boot and all these neoconservative people. But the whole Russia probe, the whole remove Assad, the whole regime, that's all from the neoconservative intellects that fueled the Bush foreign policy. And these people are now fueling the Democratic Party's foreign policy. That's why they love Democrats now. That's why they hate Trump. That's why they cry for John Brennan when he doesn't get his stupid security clearance, or when he has his security clearance revoked. Brandon Wolf, Sessions needs to be fired along with all top DOJ and FBI officials for insubordination. Sessions equals exactly. Brandon, I agree with you. The only thing I would say to that, Brandon, is I think Sessions from day one, I think they pulled a real fast one on Sessions, and they made him recuse himself from the Russia probe, and they tried to 50%. No, Trumpy. I'm just going to use my buddy Clapper's card to get 50% off beef bourguignon. So I just think that he's waiting for. I think that he's waiting for political momentum, more political momentum. Once the Democrats lose, you're going to have and then you're going to have this immense. You're going to have Sessions and Trump and all of them with the greater ability to do whatever they want in terms of actual crimes. This is a really interesting article. Thank you, Sean. Lanny Davis admits Cohen, no evidence. Trump directed him to pay Stormy. It may come down to Cohen's word versus Trump's. Of course, Trump has no. I mean, of course, Cohen has no evidence. Because, and Lanny Davis admits that in the article, Gateway Pundit article. Because what's Trump going to do? What's Trump going to do? Trump's going to be like, oh, let me go ahead and let me write. It's kind of like when they say, oh, the two giant 757 planes, that was a drug bust in Little Rock. It had nothing to do with the ongoing, over 1 year long Clinton Foundation FBI probe, criminal probe. Who goes ahead and takes copious notes if you're a drug dealer? Bold like a leopard. Search John Maddow, contact me. Bold like a leopard, thank you. Thank you. So it's like, they keep losing, and they go back for more because it's very lucrative to lose. Democrats make money on losing. I mean, they basically control the media, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN. So they don't really care. They control the media. So they don't really care if they lose. It's not an issue to them. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Brandon Wolf, I'm afraid Trump cannot wait. All forces are converging to lie, cheat, steal, and throw shade onto this and all future elections. Must clean now, in my opinion. I agree. I mean, I would like that. I wouldn't mind Sessions being fired right now. I think that ultimately Sessions will do the right thing. Okay, so Brandon, here's Sessions. This is for Brandon and everyone here. And by the way, thank you, Brandon, for your support of this channel. This is for Brandon and everyone here. This is the only reason I'm not advocating every single moment of the day to fire Sessions. Sessions. Okay, so this is Sessions. Check it out. So this is Jeff Sessions.
The calls for special warrants, emails, but where's the there?
There's no there ever with Trump, but with Clinton, where's the there? And this is Sessions. Sessions speaks like H.A. Goodman, like you, Brandon, like everyone here. Like Sessions pretty much is saying everything we've been saying.
Well, the fundamental thing is you cannot be Secretary of State of the United States of America and use that position to extort or to seek contributions to your private foundation.
So Sessions is saying everything we're saying. I mean, this is the only reason I'm going to roll, no choice but to roll with Sessions, but I don't like constantly say he has to get fired because I think he's waiting for political capital. And Hillary will get charged. There's no doubt she's a walking criminal. She actually committed crimes. And the Democrats are like, well, we covered it up fair and square. It doesn't work like that. You don't cover things up fair and square. You don't cover up a criminal probe fair and square. Peter Strzok was as believable as Bill Clinton. Liars are liars. And that's just who they are. And they can play a game, but we know it's pretty overt. It's transparent. We know what's going on.
Wait a minute. I mean, that is a fundamental violation of law, and that does appear to have happened.
Where? What? Where?
That is a fundamental violation of law, and that appears to have happened. There you go. Sessions said it right here. Look. So, I mean, I'm saying to everyone, something's going on. Something's happening. I have a pretty good pulse of what's taking place in politics for years. A pretty good pulse of what. I'm not perfect, but something's happening.
Foundation.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I mean, that is a fundamental violation of law, and that does.
That is a fundamental violation of law. Okay? Sessions says it. That is a fundamental violation of law.
Does appear to have happened.
Where? What? Where
Anyway.
was she extorted money?
Well,
Where? You mean UBS, Boeing, Haiti, weapons deals, Uranium One, Chicago Commodities Trader, and endless. Where did she extort money?
when people think that the way you gain entree
When people think entree,
is to give to
they're not talking about appetizer.
this foundation, why are these people giving money to the foundation? Why are these people in countries that are very poor giving millions of dollars, even hundreds of millions of dollars, to a foundation that doesn't benefit them in any direct way or the people in their country? So they're doing it to gain access, and you can't.
That's also, I mean, Sessions brings up the point. Why are people giving money if they don't benefit directly from the charities of the Clinton Foundation? They're doing it for access. But access is also, I mean, that is the quid pro quo relation. $1 million from Qatar for Bill Clinton's birthday. You can go ahead and look at just the Podesta emails. 500 conflicts of interest. And a Clinton Foundation employee, an official, basically said there are 500 conflicts of interest at the Clinton Foundation. That's obvious. It's obvious. I mean, just use the WikiLeaks emails to go ahead and you know. So it's like, look, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. It's just a matter of patience.
Cannot pay for access.
Of course.
Wait a minute. This last deal was that this prince asked in the regular order to get access to Hillary Clinton and meet with her. It was turned down. The foundation called and said, in effect, he's given $32 million, and they immediately got access.
But
that's wrong.
Other than a meeting, maybe that's a handshake. Maybe that's a photo op. Maybe that's a hello, how are you?
Maybe that's a handshake. Maybe that's a photo op. When have you seen this deferential treatment to Trump? This bending over backwards to be as fair as possible. You've never seen it. It doesn't happen with Trump. It doesn't happen with Trump. It just doesn't happen. With Trump, if you can make the most egregious leaps of logic, the most ridiculous leaps of logic, you do so. You do so. That's it. You must make the most ridiculous leaps of logic. So check it out.
Is the evidence that some money was exchanged for a policy or for something that happened?
He asked for an investigation. The man wanted access.
I mean, Uranium One, cash flow to Clinton Foundation, and Russian uranium deal. Oh, that was a coincidence. UBS. Oh, that was a coincidence. Boeing. Oh, that was a coincidence. Chicago Commodities Trader. Oh, that was a coincidence. Weapons deals. Oh, that was a coincidence. Haiti. Oh, that was a coincidence. Every single thing, every single flow of money into the Clinton Foundation and a beneficial outcome takes place. Oh, that's a coincidence. Oh, well, she just used her server for convenience. Oh, she thought that C was alphabetical. That's what it was. She saw the C meant catnip, not confidential. Oh, well, she just, golly gee, she wiped the server with a cloth. They're in on it. The media is in on it. It's not just that the media they're not just complicit from a journalistic standpoint. Oh, they're pretty much in on it at this point. They don't care. They really don't care. They want their preferred. everyone has a bias, but that's the problem with the media. They act overtly on their bias. With me, I focus on commentary. But you have journalists who are supposed to just be completely objective, and they show overt hatred towards Trump. Then, which is really funny, and Sean, thank you so very much for this, Cohen was never ever in Prague, which hurts BuzzFeed. So you have a situation where BuzzFeed is suing the DNC because they're getting sued. The Steele dossier says that Cohen was in Prague. So now Lanny Davis is debunking the Steele dossier. That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. You couldn't even make it up. You couldn't make this up. You can't make it up. You can't make up this. It's just too hilarious. The whole point. Okay, so the Steele dossier stated that Michael Cohen was in Prague. Meeting with an operative. And then they were like, oh my God. The Steele dossier claimed Cohen went to Prague to meet Russians. Lanny Davis just... So I don't get it. I don't understand how people are this stupid. I don't get how they're being crushed. The Yahtzee one, do you have a theory, good theory as to why MSM is biased towards left? Well, there are certain reasons, and I would say up until recently, my evolution towards becoming more conservative. I mean, conservatives are okay with gay marriage. Conservatives are not going to tell you that you have to believe in God or you have to believe in a religion. Conservatives just want to be left alone. They don't proselytize. They don't try to convert people anymore. They're not in your face about you can't do this, censorship. They're actually against censorship now. So liberals have become conservatives, but in their own ideology in certain ways. So conservatives used to be more in your face. They used to be, and that's why the media historically was liberal. I mean, the McCarthy era, Joseph McCarthy was a Republican. He was a conservative, and conservatives would condemn people, or for not, for here, gay marriage as an example, or just it was not as cool to be conservative back in the day because conservatives had a short-sighted mentality on a whole bunch of things, race included. Now it's different. Now you see more black, more Latino, gay conservatives, Jewish conservatives. It's like conservatives don't care about the things they used to care about, which used to turn off people. And so that's why the media historically, I think, lean towards more of a liberal vantage point. There's also, the liberal vantage point is from Watergate to the McCarthy era to, it's easier to condemn when you look at like for example, the Vietnam War. There was no way to win the war. We should never have gotten into the war. The Gulf of Tonkin was a lie. So from a liberal perspective, they can kind of say, oh, well, look, 58,000 Americans should be alive today. But now conservatives are saying that, and Democrats are saying, oh, well, trust the intelligence community. So it's all topsy-turvy. I just think that Democrats or liberals, up until recently, were more appealing to most people. That's why the media turned more liberal. The left, the way it is now, that's because of 8 years of President Obama. You have journalists who formed their first foray into politics was Obama's administration, which was essentially the deep state and the White House, destroying Libya, private server, Hope and Change, a Nobel Peace Prize for being militant. Everything's just, so that's why it's their team now. Azalipot replaced Sessions with Louis Gohmert. He was a judge prior to being a congressman. Oh, I would love that. My God, would I love that. But he has to be confirmed by the Senate. My God, though, I would love that so much. Azalipot, could you imagine? Could you imagine all these people getting Gohmerized? Could you imagine? Azalipot, thank you. Could you imagine every single Democrat would get Gohmerized? It'd be amazing. Thank you so much, Azalipot. Brandon Wolf, just in, Gateway Pundit. Top GOP senators back POTUS. Clear path for Trump to fire AG Sessions after 2018 midterms. Wow. Grassley and Graham said he deserved an AG he has faith in. Well, I think I'm hoping that happens. The only thing is you have to then get the guy confirmed. Top GOP senators back. I think that would be good. I'm reading that right now. The Attorney General must be confirmed by Senate. So I agree. You know what? If he can go ahead and I agree with that. I don't think that I have no love in particular for Sessions, but I will say, here's Sessions.
To talk about something. This is very important to people, and they have an agenda. They wouldn't be asking for access for nothing, and they wouldn't be giving $30 million to a foundation that's not.
If they have an agenda, they wouldn't be asking for access for nothing. Relevant to them.
They wanted access. They got access, and I think that raises questions.
So there you go. He knows what's going on. He knows what's going on. And he knows exactly what's going on. They all do. That's the thing. They all know. They all know that, they all know that at the end of the day, BuzzFeed BuzzFeed published information that now Lanny Davis is saying is fake news. I mean, it's like, So at the end of the day, it's like, this is all public knowledge. The Hill, Vanity Fair, all reported BuzzFeed is suing the DNC and that Michael Cohen was suing BuzzFeed. And then they were, oh, by the way, with Michael Cohen, they hated him. They were like, oh my God, he was in Prague. He was in Prague. Everyone was saying, oh my God, he was in Prague. Michael Cohen Prague visit? Why the allegation is so important? Why it's so important for Trump? This is a Vox article. Well, I guess we answered that question. It's like, so funny. They don't even know when they're losing. They don't even know when they're losing. They have no concept. They don't even know what winning and losing is. Every time they lose, it's like, oh my God, look, we did this good. It's like, no. No. Thank you, Sean, as always, for your help. This is amazing. I mean, my buddy Sean just gave me an amazing article, a bunch of articles, and it's like every single propaganda spin, it doesn't. They don't get it. They don't get how when you're utterly corrupt, when your vantage point is not truth, when you're utterly corrupt and you want to just hurt people, you're not going to really win. There's no winning there. There's no winning regarding that. There's no, you're not going to win in life or politics or anything. Like, you at least have, in politics, yeah, it's nasty, but you at least have to have some value system. You at least have to have some value system. You can't just go ahead and continually say, hold on.
Somebody that's qualified for the job. The president's entitled to attorney general he has faith in. Somebody that's qualified for the job. And I think there will come a time, sooner rather than later, where it will be time to have a new face and a fresh voice at the Department of Justice. Replacing him before the election, to me, would be a non-starter. But the idea of having a new attorney general in the first term of President Trump's administration, I think is very likely.
So not in the first term. So I'll do a segment regarding Trump replacing Sessions in the second term, but if he goes ahead and if the indictments take place regarding Clinton, because she will get charged with a crime. She did commit a crime. And then people were like, oh my God, look, Michael Cohen deleted his tweet regarding Clinton. Ha 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 ha. It's like, well, she's a walking criminal. There's no real irony there. She relied on Comey. Comey covered up her crime. So there you go. I mean, you can't really brag too much about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back. This has been a really awesome live stream. A really awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you to everyone. Trump sought advice on possibility of Manafort pardon. Zero hedge right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very, very much. You are all amazing. Hold on one second. The only thing that I've done wrong is to win an election. That was expected to be, well, that was yesterday. Won by Crooked Hillary. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very, very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you very, very soon. Great, great live stream. To my super chat, thank you. Hit subscribe right now. Please go ahead and share this segment everywhere. Thank you.